Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm Nusha, a woman candidate master, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to checkmate with a knight and a bishop. It seems scary, right? But don't worry, I'll teach you the easiest way to do that. Let's go. So let me show you how you can start. The first step is to bring your king close. Your king is the most important piece in this endgame. And if your king is far away, you cannot checkmate your enemy king. So walk your king toward the enemy king until you are close enough to push him. I will play king to e2. And let's see, black, for example, plays king to e4. Now we need to use all our three pieces for the checkmate. We cannot checkmate with just a bishop or a knight. So we need to use all them together. And the second step is to push the king, the enemy king, to one of these corners. First of all, it doesn't really matter if you push the king in a wrong corner. What is very important is to push the king in one of the corners. I will play bishop to e3, just trying to limit the king. The king goes to d5, for instance, then king to d3, again pushing the king forward to limiting the enemy king. King to c6, king to c4, king d6, and here we can use our knight. We can bring our knight to help for checkmating the black's king. The king goes to c6, for instance, and here we can again try to limit the black's king. And I'm going to take this square from the king. I will play bishop to f4, king goes to b6. Let's play knight to d4. Now I'm taking another square from the king. King goes to b7. Now again, what is important is to push the king forward to limit the enemy king. I will play king to b5 here. King to a8. And here is the most actually important step, that you cannot checkmate the enemy king on the wrong corner, which is a white corner. You only checkmate the enemy king when it's in the same color as your bishop. So you need to bring the king in one of these corners, on h8 or on a1. Let's do that together. I will play bishop to e5 just to wait for black to play. He plays king to b7, and now let's put the knight to c6. Now we are again bringing all our pieces to limit the king. The king goes to c8, king c5, and we are just waiting for our next step, which is also very important. We need to create a W form with our knight. How? Let me show you. Like this. It looks like a W, and it helps us to limit the black's king step by step, and getting some squares each move by creating this W form with our knight. So all we need to do is to, for instance, now take this square by playing knight to d4, the first move to create the W form. And the king goes to d8, for instance. Now it's time to give a check. So as you see, we are creating this W form, and we give a check on e6. The king goes to e8, and what we can do here is to play king to d6 again, bringing our king closer to the king, to the enemy's king. King goes to f7. Can you guess this move? Yes, you're right. We are completing and finishing our W form by playing knight to f4, and now we are getting this g6 square from black's king. And as you see, the black's king is very limited. It cannot go to any of these squares. So it goes back to e8, for instance. And what we do here is to play bishop to f6. It's very important to take this d8 square from the king, so the king cannot run away again to the wrong corner. The king goes to f7, and this square is taken by the knight, so we play bishop to h4 just to stay in this diagonal, and these squares are taken. The king goes to g7. We play king to e7, bringing our king a bit closer to the black's king, the king goes to g8. So here is also very important. We play bishop to f6. We are limiting the king as much as possible. So the king cannot go to g7, h8, f7, or f8. So the only square the king can go is to h7. And then what we do? Can you guess? Yes, king to f7. Now we are getting another squares from the king. Most important one is g8, so the king cannot run away again. The king has only one square to go, which is h6, and it's very good to see that these squares are taken, so the king cannot run away from these squares. We play bishop to d8 just to wait, and our plan is to play bishop to g8 to take this h6 square from the king, and we are pushing the king to h8 the next moves. So the king has to go to h7. Here we play bishop g5. Finally, we take h6 square from the king, and now it's almost over. The king has to go to h8, which is the correct corner, and we can checkmate in 3 moves. Actually, very simple. We play knight to g6 check. The king has to go to h7. We give another check on f8. The king has only moved to go to h8, and then we checkmate on f6, just like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned a lot from this endgame and how to checkmate with just a knight and a bishop. If you have any questions, just let me know in comments, and please do subscribe to my channel because we'll have more videos coming soon.